7 secrets your bank does not want you to know. Most of us have a bank account. Most of us think that a bank is our friend, or it's a great place to put our money, or it's this amazing way to get great financial advice in a checking account, and they give us mortgages and business credit cards and all of this stuff. That's just not true. In this episode, I'm going to share with you all of the real secrets of what's going on at the bank, and more importantly, as someone that used to be a vice president at many major banks, including Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, and even Bank of America, I'm going to share with you some real secrets of what your bank does not want you to know. Let's go.
Noel. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, or you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
First thing that you need to know is banks want you to save money. They're always encouraging you to save money, put money in their account. Hey, you need to be put money into account, but banks do not save money. As soon as they get your money, what do? They start investing it. So it's so funny that banks pretend to be our friends. They're your neighborhood, and they have these great commercials where they show families and kids and dogs and all of this stuff, but they are definitely not your friend. They are savvy investors, and they use the money that you give them to invest. So let's break down all of the things that banks do not want you to know so that you can start being savvy your own self. I teach an entire class where I teach you my exact formula on how I use business credit and business funding to get wealthy. You can actually get funding and use that funding to create income and assets for yourself. Go to noelsfreeclass.com right now and register for my next free masterclass. Okay, let's get into this. Number 2. Banks have unadvertised programs. Now, this is something that most people have no idea about. People think that when they're watching the commercials on TV about, oh, come in and get an auto loan, or hey, we have these great mortgages, that those are the programs that banks have. Well, most banks have unadvertised programs, especially for women and minority-owned businesses and even veteran-owned businesses. I literally have walked into a bank, opened up a business checking account, and the banker is sitting in front of me, my relationship manager, starts telling me about unadvertised programs that are designed for minorities, designed for the Black community, designed for women, where they will loan me money at a very, very low interest rate, and they are not allowed to advertise these programs to the general public because in many cases it will seem, to some people. Well, there are many underrepresented groups, many groups that you may know, like these types of groups, like women and minority-owned businesses and veteran-owned businesses, that are very, very underrepresented for funding. Meaning, statistically speaking, generally speaking, for many, many years, these groups will walk into a bank and they would be declined for loans that other majority groups would be approved for. How many times Black people, minorities, women have been turned down at a rate that is far higher than other majority groups. So now there are laws and regulations and even bank owners and presidents that have made initiatives to start lending to these underrepresented communities so that we can start kind of evening the playing field and providing guidance on how to actually use that money so that the loans can be repaid and money can actually be made with the loans that you get. You don't want to just borrow money and have a debt. You want to be able to get a loan, get approved for that loan, and then use that loan to make you more money. That is the point. That is what wealthy people do. So there are so many unadvertised programs at so many different banks. Banks like Regions Banks, banks like Truist Bank, banks like PNC, banks like BMO Harris, banks that I have literally walked into and gotten loans from just because I was maybe a woman or maybe I was a minority and I've had a business and I have proven myself. But again, many of these programs are completely unadvertised. You would have no idea that they even exist. And so that is why Noel Randall is here to tell you the truth and share with you these great information, because you literally can walk into so many of these different banks and walk away with $50,000 without any proof of income if you have just a few things and you belong to one of these groups that they are trying to help out. I'm trying to get to 1 million subscribers and I need your help. Subscribe to my channel and help me get to 1 million. Let's go. Number 3. Your bank is not a financial advisor. Yes, I know there are so many banks that offer you financial advice, or they have these consultants that they want to talk to you and they give you these free consultations, and you walk into the bank and they will help you with all of these great things. Well, in many cases, this is not the best financial advice. Now, again, I have many relationships with many great banks, probably 15, 16 different banks at this point in time. And so I know that there is a different level at different banks and from different people. But most of the financial advisors, again, not all, but most of them will offer you very, very poor advice. They will offer you advice that, let's just say, is not designed for you to be rich. It is for you to just live a very basic and mediocre life. They're not going to give you financial advice that will teach you how to become very wealthy, or advice that a millionaire or a multimillionaire or a billionaire would give you. They're going to offer you very conservative advice. They're going to offer you advice many times where you're not getting a great return on your money, where you're putting it into this really, like a CD that's offering you almost no interest, and you would be better off buying a piece of real estate, for example. Or they may tell you to put money into a savings account, and it's far more that's needed in a savings account than you actually need, because you would probably be better off to invest more of that money than versus saving the money the way that they are advising you. So be very careful and know that your bank is not a financial advisor, and many of the financial advisors that work at banks are not very good. Which leads me to number 4. Most advisors at banks are not wealthy. Almost all of the financial advisors that I have met at banks have been very mediocre people. And I'm not saying this to diss them, I'm not saying this to flex on them, but as a multimillionaire that came from her parents' basement, broke, bankrupt with bad credit, to then now earn millions of dollars per year, and now I have millions of dollars in assets, I can tell you unequivocally, most people at the bank have no idea what they're talking about on how to get rich. Literally, think about this. They work at a bank. They're just sitting there each day. They don't even have to market to get customers. You just walk into the bank and now you're their customer. So they have no idea about marketing. They have very little money. Most of them are not millionaires. Most of them are not entrepreneurs, and they have never started a business. Most of them have never even made over $250,000 per year. They're not the 1%. So these are not people that you probably should be listening to if your goal is to be rich. Now, if you want to live a basic life and be very mediocre, then yes, you might listen to the financial advice of someone that's sitting inside of a bank cubicle. But if you actually want to be a wealthy person, a rich person, you probably should be listening to other wealthy people. They know how to make money. They actually have done something to get rich, so they could give you actual advice and guidance on how to get rich. And most of it is going to defy conventional thought. Most of it is going to go against what most people do. In order to be rich, that means you are a 1% person. So you think differently than 99% of the population. Therefore, you cannot listen to advice from the 99% of the population in order to get rich. So start thinking differently, start connecting yourself with other rich people and listening to them instead of some employee at a bank. Number 5, banks want you to save money without paying you interest. I'm not going to spend very much time on this one because you already know that. They are going to encourage you to open savings account, put as much money in there as possible, and they are going to pay you very little interest. They do not want you to know that. That is their entire business model. In most cases, the bigger the bank, the more money they want you to save and the lower interest they want to pay you. This is so then they could take that money and, as I mentioned before, invest it and loan it out to other people at a higher profit. So their entire goal is to get you to save as much money as possible and pay you as little as possible for that money. They don't want you to know that, but now you know. Number 6, banks want you to overdraft. I know. They literally had to make laws and regulations stopping them. Banks were making billions of dollars per year on overdraft fees. Literally, they would let you spend money on your debit card just so that they could charge you enormous overdraft fees, $35 every single time you did that. They want you to overdraft. They want to make those fees. That is an amazing way that they make a lot of money, and in fact is a part of their business plan. you overdrafting. So start to be more cognizant of how much money you spend and do not overdraft. They want you to do that, so don't let them. Have an app on your phone that lets you know, or an alert, I should say, that lets you know when your balance is getting low. You should be able to track your spending a lot better. If you truly want to be rich and wealthy, you're going to have to do a better job of watching your money. I check my bank account every single day, even on the weekends. I have alerts. Again, I am not going to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into a bank so that the bank can invest it, but I also do not give them overdraft fees. This is very important. I'm not to say that I've never had an overdraft fee. Of course I have. Like I said, I used to be bankrupt, broke, bad credit. So I used to do a bunch of terrible and silly and stupid things. But today, the Noelle of today that is a multimillionaire, she does not overdraft her account. Why? Because I have different things set in place. One, I have alerts, but two, I have my account connected to a credit card or a savings account. So if it overdrafts, it automatically makes that transfer and I am not charged a fee. I am not going to be giving banks fees that they did not earn. It's bad enough they charge us interest for different credit cards and things like that. And I already know that any money that I put into their accounts, they are using to make money. So why would I then give them even more money by doing overdraft fees? So just think about that. So set yourself up for success by having your account set up where you get those alerts and where you have your checking account attached to a savings or a credit card so that it automatically transfers and you never get overdraft fees ever again. Number 7, banks do not want you to know that you can use their money to make yourself money. In many cases, it's so funny how banks are always trying to push you into things that make them money. Like they will offer you a mortgage, they will offer you a car loan, they will offer you credit cards, but none of those things actually make you money in most cases. However, do not be so foolish to listen to what the bank is pushing to you that makes them money. Start using banks to make yourself money. Set up a business. Instead of opening up a personal checking account with all of these different banks, you literally can have multiple business checking accounts and get business credit and business funding from multiple banks that you can use to make yourself money. You can get a business line of credit and end up using that to get real estate or to buy inventory or to market for your business and make yourself more money. Banks are never going to tell you to use their money to make money. They're going to try to get you into products that make them money. But who cares what they're trying to do? Use this secret that I am telling you to make yourself money. I literally have an entire portfolio of real estate that I was able to get using business credit and business funding. And in many cases, none of these loans report on my personal credit report. You can set up a business, you can start a business, and you can get funded in your business's name, even with a new LLC, and you can use that funding to get assets. Yes, income producing assets like rental properties, investment properties, stores, retail shops, e-commerce, consulting businesses. You can use the bank's money to make yourself money. I have an entire class where I teach this, where you can get this PLF, which stands for Portfolio Launch Formula. You literally can have a portfolio of rental properties that makes you a millionaire. And in many cases, you can find distressed properties, properties that we get for pennies on the dollar, and we use business credit and business funding to acquire those properties. It will teach you how, even if you have bad credit, you can get good credit and then get business credit and business funding to do everything that I just said. This is amazing, and this is the new way to wealth. This is not your parents' plan on how to get wealthy. This is what's working right now and has worked for so many wealthy people that I know today. You truly can have your own portfolio of real estate and become a multimillionaire through real estate using business credit and business funding. I'm telling you all of this because I want to make sure that you have all of the tools, all of the resources, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful. This is Noelle. To your success.